My name is Tanya Swan, and I was born and raised in the beautiful island of Grand Turk on Hospital Road. I am the mother of one, a daughter. She's 23, and she's currently studying abroad at Berry University in Miami, Florida. I am currently working at Beaches Turks and Caicos. I'm going on to my 20th year being there. However, I've been in the hotel industry for the past 26 years. Well, as I mentioned before, I grew up in Grand Turk on Hospital Road. One of the things for me is it wasn't just about my mom and my sisters, my older sisters taking care of me. It was the entire community. It was those who brought us, those persons who brought me up. The values, as simple as saying thank you, good morning, good afternoon, yes sir, no sir. Those things was instilled in me from early age. So it helped me to where I am today and instilling the same things with my daughter. So for me, it was that upbringing with the entire community. Like the saying, say the village brought me up. Well, looking back, I've seen a lot of persons that have been in leadership, and I look at the younger generation of what we have now, and I think that we should have more leaders. So persons within my generation or from my time, looking back, it has made me feel like, you know what, Tanya, I think you should be at the forefront. You should be at the forefront, and you should help the younger generation to lead by example, to lead in the hotel industry or even in the church or even in the government, but whatever position that they take up, they be better leaders, but it has to come from within themselves. Service above self. First of all, it's not about me. It's about the people that I serve daily. In my line of work, I am in the hospitality industry. So there are people that I serve daily in different sense. For instance, making the guests happy, making their dreams come true. So I don't do things to make it about myself or from my perspective, but I listen to my client or my customer and I serve them from that. I see their passion, I see what they want, and then I instill what I know in creating something for them. Well, being the director of sales groups and conventions, it's an adventure of its own when it comes to service. It is in detailed with dealing with different persons from different cultures. But for me, it is about creating that magical moment for them. So the service that I give them is service of making them feel happy, making the smallest little child smile when I set up like a special birthday party for them. The service that I give is service of excellence, because at the end of the day, once they are happy, then I'm happy. Well, looking at that, over the years, as I mentioned, I've been in the hospitality industry for the last 26 years. And one of the things that for me, working in the industry, there's the long hours, there's, 7 days a week sometimes. But one of the things for me that was a challenge for me is that I had a lot of loss that I experienced while working in the industry. And it was loss where it was people who mentored me, who inspired me to be where I am today, to help me. So overcoming that challenge, I always put my trust in God. I pray every day and I ask God, God, your will and your way. There are different challenges that we experience on a daily basis. It can be challenges from the different people that we deal with. It can be challenges from the people that, that I work around every day. But my biggest challenge is not being able to do what I'm supposed to do if I don't have the resources. But I overcome that by making the best out of what I have. Growing up as a little girl around my mom and my sisters, and especially my grandmother, they were all praying people. And one of the things that was instilled in me by my late mom, she said, every day, pray. Whether it's a good day, whether it's a bad day. Never get up or start your day without praying. She said, now, when you pray, make sure you know what you're praying for and you just talk to God. So every day I talk to God, no matter what it is. Good days, bad days, I ask him. I say, Lord, you see what's in front of me. You see what's behind me, what's beside me. So I am trusting in you to help me get through this day. Sometimes I pray and I ask for things that it's going to help me to be a better person. So prayer is like my second Bible. After reading my Bible, prayer is my Bible. I depend on prayer every day. Being at Beaches, Turks and Caicos, it has shaped me into the young lady that I am today for many different reasons. Working at Beaches, Turks and Caicos, first and foremost, the opportunities were there for me to better my educational skills, to better me as a person. I used to be shy, not wanting to be in the public eye, but getting through classes with them, they have helped me to get my master's and my bachelor's. So the rewarding thing for me is putting all that they have all the training that they have given me, put it into action to make the guests that we have there every day happy, as well as my colleagues that I work with. Well, first and foremost, anyone, they must know what they want, where they want to go, and they must be able to stand with challenges that will come. Everything is not handed to us on a silver platter. You have to work hard for it. But as an individual, you have to know what you want to do. You might get up one morning and you might feel like, I want to be a teacher. But you have to really think about it. Are you made to be a teacher? Teacher doesn't just require going to the classroom, talking to the kids. It's about nurturing them. It's about listening to them. It's about just adapting to what they're doing in the classroom. So you have to know if that is you as the individual. For me, growing up, I always wanted to be a lawyer. And I always wanted to help people, do family law and help people. I was not privileged to go to law school. But I found my passion when I went into the hospitality industry, especially at Beaches, Turks and Caicos. And it carried me straight back to what I wanted to do, helping people. So I knew what I wanted to do. I know where I wanted to go. So I expanded on that. And I took that, and that was my passion, and I just let it go. Being a mother has been the best blessing ever for me after God gives me life. My daughter, she's the best. She has been so understanding, so kind, and so caring, and my biggest cheerleader in the industry of where I work. I could recall growing up with her. Some days I leave home, she was still sleeping. Some days when I go back at night, she was still sleeping. But she was supportive to know that what mommy was doing was for her. I balanced it where I made time for her, for sure, because we have to make time for our family. I made time for sure for her. I made time for God, and I also made time to mentor other people, because I've had people that I've taken under my wing to make sure, just check on them, make sure they are good, help them along the way that I can. But for me, getting my strength from God, by praying and asking for His guidance. He has been there for me. He has guided me. And I think He helps me balance my days. Well, my mom instilled independence in me from I was little. And I have done the same thing with my daughter along the way. I have taught her, one, never go to sleep without thanking God for the day. You wake up in the morning, you say thank you. You get in, don't wait till you get in a bind to say, Lord, help me. Throughout your days, you say, Lord, thank you. You thank the Lord for what you have done, what He's doing for you, what He's going to do for you, and what He has done for you. So I think for me, being her mom, she sees the example in me, and she has learned along the way the same thing, but just freely instilling in her about God, because I depend on Him, and I want her to feel the same way. I want her to be comfortable. She's young, and probably she has many things and dreams and aspirations, but one of the things that I want her to always do is to count on God, depend on God, trust God, and have faith that He will take her through. Well, I mean, you have persons that, they're thinking, you try to understand where they're coming from when they say things, because you have to think about things when you say things. Sometimes you have to be careful what you say. But for me, I study individuals to a point where I watch their demeanor, I watch how they move, and when they're speaking, it's like, I don't think they really understand this. So my approach to them is, sometimes I think if you're asked something or you're supposed to do something, yes, you're going to think about it, but you have to think about it in different ways. You can't just, because they ask you, you go direct. You have to break it down. You have to use your syllabus. You have to pull it apart. You have to weigh the pros and the cons, because when you think of things and you have to use your thinking to help others, you have to make sure that you're helping them in a positive manner, in a good manner, because sometimes when people think out loud, it brings more negativity than it should. Well, as I mentioned, working with Beaches, Turks and Caicos, I've had the opportunities with them, get my bachelor's and my master's in hotel tourism. I think, but one of the things for me, thinking back, would be that opportunity that was given to me to be where I am today there. When I started at Beaches, Turks and Caicos, I was the secretary for food and beverage. And over the years, I worked my way to being the director. And in between that, the most fulfilling thing for me is that management saw the potential in me in order to give me these opportunities. They saw that potential. They saw this young lady who's not stopping, who's not just staying there. She wants more. She's passionate about what she do. So I think the fulfilling moments is being recognized for what I have inside of me and what I can bring to the table. Well, for me, I can get directly to my goals and tell you. As I mentioned, I've been in the industry for about 26 years now, but at Beaches, Turks and Caicos for the last almost 20 years. And I have been expressing concerns as to where's the next up for me. It's not that I don't love what I'm doing now, but there's always more. And I am looking more into hotel management, maybe being a hotel manager one day, maybe being the general manager. So that's the potential that I have. That's my goals that I have moving forward for 2024. But at the same time, I placed it in God's hands. He will tell me, or he will show me, Tanya, whether you are going to do this here. Maybe you're going to build your own hotel. Maybe you're going to travel and be somewhere else, but you will get your goals that you would like, and that's higher management. I always tell everyone that I have faith in God, and He has proven to me time and time again, and I have no reason to doubt that faith. And that faith that I have in Him, and the faith that I have that everything is going to be okay, has strengthened my shoulders every day I get up, no matter the challenge. I mean, I go through, and I have been through a lot, and just trusting in God to help me, having faith that it's going to be okay, Tanya. It's going to be okay. And in my position as a leader, I try to instill that in persons, that, you have to believe. When you believe in God, you can't just believe at a certain level. You have to believe with that faith. You have to believe with that hope. You have to believe with that prayer that He's going to do it for you. When we grow up, we used to hear, people used to say, oh, I pray to God, and they are impatient. They want it to happen now. I am that person that I pray about it and I leave it to Him. And when it happens at the right time. It happens at the right time. And I have faith that God is going to fix it. So those things, they strengthen me every day to get up each morning and put my best foot forward, even in the midst of all my challenges. Just pray, trust in God, and do your best. It might sound easy, it might sound simple, and it could be the hardest thing. But like I mentioned before, if you know what you want, you know where you want to go, just pay attention. Follow details, pay attention. Pray, ask God for His guidance. Well, I think for me, I look at that through many different ways, but one of the ways for me is I work in an industry where it's always believed that the male species have to be in charge. They have to be dominant. It has to be the male. I mean, no offense to the male, but it has to be the male. And we as females, we are a part of a committee, or we are part of a board members, and we are outnumbered by the male. And say for me, for instance, in an instance I knew of, I'm on a board where it's dominated by the male, with only myself and another female. So it is like we're around a boardroom table, and here's all these gentlemen, and they're the top ones, they're speaking, but there's a reason why us two ladies was there. Got some influence for some reason, but it still made me feel like I'm just there, or I was just there for just their sake, kind of thing. And one day, everybody had something to say, and it's like you put stuff to the table and it's like nothing's happening. Nobody's listening to Tanya. Nobody's listening to what she has to say. So one time there was a meeting, and I did a little different approach, saying, I prayed about it, of course, got God's guidance on this. And one of the things that I said is that I said, we come in here every day to these meetings. We sit around this table. I said, and sometimes we solve the issues, sometimes we don't. But what we're going to do different is we're going to include some prayer. we're going to include some prayer, because we sit around and we just go into everything. But for me, it was just all about being quiet. So one day I decided I'm going to step up and I'm going to say what I have to say. And I said it, and I said it with confidence. And I stood by what I said, what I wanted to happen. I stood by it. I was concise about it. I explained it to the details, because sometimes you find people want to speak up, but they are unable to bring out what they want to say. And I wouldn't say exactly what it was, but the situation, they heard me. And from then to now, I have a voice. And that was satisfying for me. And I know that God was there and He used me in that way, but yeah. Well, I think everybody should be heard when they have something to say. However, I think that they should be careful how they say it, because sometimes, we're all different. We all approach things differently. But when you want to be heard, I think you need to check the attitude. You got to be confident about what you're going to say, and you have to be able to bring it to the table, bring it where they're going to understand it, where they're going to understand what you're trying to say. Because a lot of us can go out there and just say things, and because we're speaking so loud and we're shouting and stuff, we think that we're being heard, but we're not being heard. You're being heard when whoever you're speaking with can look at you and see the confidence in you. They can understand what you're saying, and they can take from what you're bringing across, not just that kind of thing, and expect she has a powerful voice, she's loud. And it has to come from your heart. It has to come from your heart. Well, I have developed so much friendships over the years from being in the hotel industry all over the world. The place where I work, Beaches, Turks and Caicos, we have over 3,000 guests that comes there and visit there. And for me, I think that I would like to leave that everlasting effect on persons who know me, to know that she was a motivator, she was inspirational, she believed in God, and that she was, no matter what she went through in her life, she never gave up, she never gave in. And I think for me, just know when persons hear Tanya Swan, they hear about a lady with so much passion to do so much for others. So I think that's sufficient for me. I would be happy to know that if someone's in China and they hear about Tanya Swan, who's from the Turks and Caicos and who's working at Beaches, Turks and Caicos, oh yes, I know her. She helped me. She gave me a simple little text to say, ask me how I'm doing. She always did that for me. Or some post she made on social media, it touched my heart. That's the type of person that she was. As I spoke about my mom before, and the way that my mom brought us up in Grand Turk on Hospital Road, and the community being a part of it, today is a little bit different when it comes to things like that. But for my daughter, I have always sat and talked to her about where I came from. I've taken her to Grand Turk to see where I grew up and everything. But I try to instill in her, because everybody's different. She might come from me and she might see things differently. But I just try to tell her, take it, look at the situation. If you get yourself into a situation or you're helping people, you must listen, pay attention to details, follow up, but just take a step back before you approach something. and just simply include God. Besides working, besides loving my job, I simply like doing crossword puzzles. I like reading. I love reading because it helps me. I love reading inspirational books, funny books. I love listening to music, and I love traveling for sure. But for me, sometimes I just love the quiet time and just to talk to God sometimes.